JKB back with another episode. Today on the show, I'm doing The Taken King, and I need to thank Activision. Thank you, Activision, for sending over the review copy. I also need to thank somebody who I find super attractive with long, luscious hair. I want to just comb it, but I'd have to go over the pond to the UK to thank JB for helping me with the notes. JB's been a community member of 3 Kilobytes and JKB for so long now that it's getting weird. It's kind of, I think he's in love with me. I'm in love with him, but we now know that. Like, now that he's watching and I'm saying, but I'm editing it, so I'm still watching. Thank you for, thanks, Jay. Also, there's going to be absolutely no score in this review, and I know right away, oh, this is a review show, why don't you have a score? Listen, you can't review something that's ever expanding. You can't do it. You can't go out there and review the universe. Oh, the universe is nice today. Look at the Milky Way, and I give it a 9. No, it's ever expanding. There's things we won't see until we discover them. So, as the game progresses and opens up for me, I spent 56 hours in this for you guys, but there are things that I still didn't do that I just didn't discover, like weapons and things that just are important. So 56 hours in, I have to just tell you and give you a recommendation if you should get it or not. So as always, I asked you guys on Twitter and Facebook, what you want to know about The Taken King? So I've included two of your questions because I'm getting a little stingy on answering those. But let's just go into the review, and I'll shut up now. By the way, thank you for watching me. That's not sign language, so I just told somebody I love them, I think. No, wait, I love them's like, I think. The story is as bare as my ass on a hot Sunday evening. You kill Crota, the son of Oryx, who is the Taken King, and he basically, all he wants to do is get a murderous revenge on what you have done to his son. That right there, my friends, is the story you will encounter, and along the way, yes, you will meet new enemies and amazing boss battles, but story-wise, it's just nothing is there. Still to this day, it's just as bare bones as you can possibly make a game. I can't help but feel a little disappointed with the story that we got in there. Yes, the original Destiny had no story whatsoever, and it's good to see Bungie stepping up to the plate and saying, listen, the fans wanted this. I don't know why it wasn't in the original, but now let's put some sort of story into this. But it's so simple, it's ridiculous. And the fact that Nathan Fillion has been taken from just a sub-level character in the original to the star of the expansion is kind of fucking incredible, and he steals the show in this game. I love his character, I love what he does, I love his acting in this. The humor is something I was a little torn on. I didn't know if I wanted Destiny to become such a joke in itself almost, and his dialogue definitely propels it into a self-aware video game now. It's no longer a serious toned dark versus light. He brings a new element to it, and some of you will either really love what he did with his character in this game, or some of you will be kind of upset that the serious tone is gone. And the other thing I gotta bring up, the wizard that came from the moon, Peter Dinklage, has been completely replaced in the 2.0 upgrade for Destiny, and Nolan North, he does a decent job. He basically sounds like C-3PO's younger brother, and that's okay to me. It works, but I know a lot of you, surprisingly, will be missing the Dinklage, and I'm not one of them. I thought his performance was utter shit, and it's great to have an actual voice actor come in and handle a role with actual talents. Let's talk about a few of the major changes in Destiny 2.0 and the Taken King DLC. First off, you'll notice a bunch of things have been fixed. The biggest change, in my personal opinion, has to be the way that loot is collected in the game. You no longer have to worry about random chance drops anymore. The game is now designed to give you a better understanding of a mission with a greater payoff at the end of that mission. So you can go online and look at what guns you want to collect and see what storylines you have to follow and what missions you need to do and items you need to collect, and you can go out there and set that up and go and do it. You no longer have to worry about grinding your life away to get a certain item or gun. This is a great change. I absolutely 100% agree with what they've done with the loot system. It's not about that chance anymore, that randomization that would happen when you would kill a boss. You would hope, oh, I gotta get this loot. Now, you've got that line of quests that you can go down and search on the internet and figure out, well, I really want this gun. Now you know where that gun is and how to get it. Some of them are ridiculous and will require so much fucking loading time that you'll want to put a bag over your head and fall off a roof. But let me just say, some of the new weapons in Year 2 are, oh my goodness. If you play Destiny, you'll want to do some of this because those guns really do pay off. So I'm a huge fan of the fact that Bungie sat back and said, let's not make this about grinding anymore, even though there's a lot of grinding, but they sat back and said, let's change the way loot is given out. And this is a major step forward, and I have to give it a point. It used to be sitting at 6.5 or whatever, but now Destiny, I'm going to go to a 7 now because, yeah, I know I'm not reviewing it, but I'm just saying, now that you can get the original game with this update and the way the loot's changed, I'm going to bump that to a 7. The light system has been completely redone. You no longer have to worry about finding an exact helmet or gauntlet to raise your light level. You can now fuse together two items and move their stats over from one item to another. Yes, of course, the results may vary, but this ties back into the sense of adventure in the game, and I love that they've changed this. This makes me want to go back and collect even more loot from the strikes and the raid and everything else you can do in the game, because I want to build together the best looking badass character with the stats that I want to use, not the stats that are forced down my throat in the original game. Infusion is a huge part of the game now, and it's one of those things that I was hoping for because I was not a huge fan of being stuck with gear that just didn't look like my character. The way I wanted my character to look was badass. I want basically Boba fucking Fett in this game. Now you can collect so much gear and move stats over with Infusion, but there are a few rules that I'll go over now. Only legendary gear can be infused, but the items being infused must be done with gear that has a higher attack or defense rate than the infusee. Items must be the same type. So for an example, primary weapons for primary infusions or torso armor for torso infusions. This is the cool part. About 80% of the power will be adjusted and taken over to the infused weapon. So if you have a gun that has, let's say 234 damage, and you have an auto rifle that you want to transfer that over to, about 27% damage will carry over to the new gun. Now, this is something I thought was also cool, and I checked into this, and some of the perks may transfer over as well, according to some of the users' reports online. Now, Infusion is permanent. That means once you've done it, you're stuck with it, and ghosts can also be infused. Let's take a second to talk about the Taken. This is the new enemy type in the expansion, the Taken King. And whoa, at first I thought this is just reskins with new abilities, but it is, but it isn't. It's tough to say if this was enough, but they went back in time and put the Taken into everything in the game. So when you go back to Earth, the Cosmodrome, those dudes, the Taken, will pop down on top of you and kick the shit out of you when you least expect it. And I absolutely love this fact that all of the old content has been revamped, and they've just changed the way that it feels and the way the encounters happen. And it's not so much of a grind anymore when you realize that enemies can pop in at any point in time. It just makes it a lot more fun. Taken are former members of the Fallen, Hive, Vex, and Cabal species that have been sent out of this dimension, changed by Oryx using the power of the darkness, and sent back into our dimension with new powers and abilities. Their condition causes them to twitch frequently and display a blue, dark, supernatural flame burning inside of them. Taken creatures have new abilities and characteristics that set them apart from their regular counterparts. Now, I don't want to sit back and explain every single detail of the new abilities that the Taken have, but let me just say that overall, I think it was enough to keep me interested, at least for a good 3 or 4 months. Now, with all of these different enemy types, I really feel that the universe that's in this game is unique enough, finally, to feel like you go out there with your friends, and yes, after a few months you're going to start to feel that grind, that's for sure. But these new enemy types, known as the Taken, I absolutely love them, and they can be very challenging, and that's something that I was super excited to see. The Crucible has been balanced, which was a major problem with the original release, and the Taken King includes 8 new maps for your Destiny enjoyment. I'm a huge fan of the Crucible, and I have to say, wow, they've done an amazing job balancing out the weapons. I know that some of you hardcore players out there are feeling that the balancing is not perfect quite yet, but let's not sit around and complain about the small things. I think the fact is they've fixed the balancing between all the different primary and secondary weapons that you'll feel a lot better going into it now. David asks, for somebody who was completely unimpressed with Expansion 1 and 2, does Destiny the Taken King have enough extensive and original content to reel me back in? Hello, David. Thank you for asking that question. Be honest, here, right now, I'll say this. So much more content has been put into the game. It's been revamped from the bottom up. They've changed voice actors. They've put story, they've injected story. Even though I'm not saying that it's incredible, it is still something that is tangible now. You don't have to go offline and go onto your computer and read these cards to figure out the story anymore. You now get a little bit of story, but is it enough? We've been waiting how long for some story, and all it is a simple revenge tale. It's not enough to sell me on story, but this game, listen, I talked to so many people over the last week about how they feel about the content and the changes and the balancing and everything in this game, and especially the ability to now collect your bounties in your menu system. You no longer have to go to the watchtower and hand your bounties in to Chappie anymore. So that's a good thing. You could just do it from your menu system and set waypoints to objectives and stories in your menu system. You don't have to go to the watchtower to get all this information, but unfortunately still a lot of loading. But I'll get into my final overall should I get the game or not recommendation in a second. But yes, David, there's enough content, I can finally say, in this game to pick it up. Especially if you haven't played it before, this is jam-packed with things to do. A lot of them, yes, are fetch quests. A lot of them are grinding. It's just, if you like the shooting, that's why you're getting this game, and people overlook that. Simon asks, does the DLC really make up for the original failure? That's a good question, Simon. Is it worth the money? Is it worth the $80 Canadian to buy the original Destiny 2.0 and the expansion packs and the Taken King? Let me just talk about content. There's so much content in this game now that $80 is nothing. I would definitely drop that money in a heartbeat to pick up this game. Are you going to be blown away with story? No, but that's not why you're playing this game. I don't play Diablo 3 constantly to listen to the story. Yes, it's far more interesting than Destiny, but it's not something I sit back and go, I hope this wins an Emmy for writing, because you can't win an Emmy for video game stuff. But the point here is, Destiny will never, ever win any awards for its story. But if you went to its basic core mechanics of firing a gun and blowing the heads off of different enemy types, it's spectacular. These are the people that made Halo. They know what they're doing in terms of shooters. So when you're going into a game like Destiny, you have to sit back and ask yourself a few different questions, and those would be, do you want to play with your friends? Do you like online competitive shooters? And do you like grinding and collecting loot and upgrading your weapons and abilities? Because that is all this game is going to be. So if you're the type of person who doesn't like playing online, then I would highly suggest that this is probably not for you. But if you are the type of person that loves having those moments with your friends where you throw the perfect grenade or you get that sniper shot to somebody's head at the perfect moment and you cheer with your friends and you've captured it online with, you know, the PlayStation share button and you share it with your friends and you're having a great time playing video games, this is why we play fucking video games. I don't go online to fucking rant about how shitty the gaming community is, because that would be too easy to do. I don't go online to talk about how crappy my day was and all this shit. I want to experience good times with good friends in decent video games, because that's what this is. It's not a great video game because all it is shooting, but overall, I'm gonna just say it right now, a lot of people thought I was gonna shit all over this, but I am very happy. And here's a little inside story before I go. Johnny Millennium and I, this is funny, literally almost to the day, played Destiny back to back 1 year later. And what's funny about that is 1 year ago to the day almost, he was eating A&W, and it's these moments that wouldn't happen unless I was playing Destiny, where I went in with the Taken King, popped it in, I saw Johnny online, he messaged me, we went in, and somehow he was eating the A&W again while we went into the same level and experienced new things. That's what this game is about right there. That fucking story is why I play Destiny. I don't play it for the story, I play it to create stories in my own life. So thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate all of the support. Thank you once again to Activision for sending it over. I really appreciate everything you guys do for me. If you could share this video, I know it's late, it would mean the world. And also hit that like button because it makes women turned on. Thank you so much. I'm out of here. My next review is mysterious. I have no idea what it's going to be. I requested so many reviews for you guys, and I'm hoping it's something cool. I don't know yet, but it's coming. Thank you so much. Also, if you have any more questions about Destiny, The Taken King, ask me below in the comments, and I will do my best to answer you. I love you guys. I'm out of here. Mwah.